Welcome to Talking in Common, a podcast of all things lifestyle, family, relationships, well-being, kids and culture. This is not a how-to, but an insight into the lives of ourselves and others and how we all manage to get by. Hosted by myself, Kate Gadinsky, and my co-host, Sophie Panton. Take a listen and let's find out what we all have in common.
Great way to start off. My baby crashing in the background. That's the reality. Welcome back.
I think when we finished season 3, Ren was still pretty happy, just kind of cuddling in your arms and feeding, or you kind of just place him on the floor. But now he is very much up and about. Well,
I know.
Not walking, obviously, but climbing.
Oh, close enough to it. My God, he's so different to Honey, my first child. Like, you know, his physical development is so much more advanced than what Honey's was. He was crawling like, you know, late sort of 5 months, which I was just like, oh my God, stop. I can't deal. It's too hard chasing him all the time.
Sounds like things are smashing and crashing over at your house today.
Yeah, they are. I've like strategically placed all these little toys around him to keep him entertained while we record this. But hi, Dal. It's great to be back.
It's season 4.
Did
4. You think
we're like old hands at this now?
Are we?
Oh my God! Remember when
something tells me when we set up our recording equipment this morning?
Oh my God!
It feels very new. Nah,
why are we
kidding.
such tech rookies still? Remember like the first episodes though? Oh my God! Talking about rookies, well, rookies back then.
Yeah, I feel like if we listened back to them now.
Oh, don't. I'd cringe.
I think we might cringe. But we've made it. We, to be completely honest, we both were feeling a little overwhelmed. Maybe is a good word to put it. Stressed.
It's a nice way to put it.
And we weren't really sure how we were going to get back on the podcast wagon for this season because we just logistically weren't kind of aligning maybe just with everything that's going on in our lives. But we both came to the conclusion that we love it too much.
Yeah.
We love each other too much.
Yeah.
And we kind
of had like all these ideas brewing and all these things, like, kind of happening in the background. And it just didn't feel quite right to just, pause at this point. But I think that's probably what we've got in common,
Absolutely.
To be fair. Like we don't really have that much spare time to be doing this, but we do love it. We are committed. And, for a bit of context, I suppose the reason why we don't have time is like, I'm at home a lot. I've got Ren with me 24/7 now. You're pregnant. You're growing a baby. You're like not far off having this baby.
Have this baby soon.
Of course, you've got your other 2 kids to juggle at the same time.
A million activities and.
Yeah. So, with our home family life, we've both got a lot going on. And I think we've learnt that it's really difficult to juggle kids and work at the same time, particularly live recording.
Ren's gone awfully quiet. Is he right there?
He's actually just sitting there like staring at me like, who are you talking to?
I was actually kind of thinking when we were getting ready to record and you were like, oh, I don't know how he's going to go for sorry, we don't know how long we're going to record for yet, but, potentially 30 or 40 minutes. I was actually thinking maybe he'll just like look at you in admiration, like look at my amazing mummy over there.
Oh, yeah, right.
I didn't want to jinx it.
Well, he's doing that right now. Yeah. Hi, Bubby. Hello.
Happiest little baby, Mr. Ren.
Isn't he? Smiliest little Bubby. Joy of my life right now, the little man. I suppose we should give a bit of an update of what we've been up to and where we're at, because it has been a minute since our last episode towards the end of last year.
Yep.
So how are you, babe? What have you got to report? Tell us about your pregnancy so far.
Well, I can't believe I'm I'm well into that 3rd trimester now. So
I know.
It kind of feels like it's gone really fast, but at the same time, parts of it have felt like they've gone slow. I think 3rd time around I've found has been a lot more testing on me physically, that's for sure. Obviously, overall I'm well and nothing really to report, but just on my body, like physically I've been uncomfortable a lot earlier. I definitely popped a lot quicker.
Mm.
Just the exhaustion as well. And I think, that's a combination of the pregnancy, but also having two kids who are, yes, a bit older, but they've got lives and commitments and things of their own that I've kind of got to
Keep up with.
keep up with. So I think just, the combination, that second pregnancy, thing that everyone talks about where you get the glow, or not even the glow, just that little burst of energy. There's generally that kind of, I think they say it's usually around like maybe 24 to 28 weeks is usually, or
Do you
20
mean
to
second
24.
trimester?
Yeah, it's usually meant to
Because
be
this
like,
is your third pregnancy, you
yes.
realise?
What did I say? Yeah, no, second trimester.
You said second pregnancy.
Sorry, second trimester,
Yeah.
where you kind of get a little bit more energy and it's usually
yeah.
like meant to be the cruisiest kind of time of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you, like, that did not come this time.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I just
didn't
felt-
get that either with Ren, actually. I was still really tired through the whole second
whole
trimester, and I was just
time.
like, where's my second trimester buzz? Like, not
Yeah,
happening.
and I've got like a bit of insomnia too, so I'm so
Oh,
exhausted. But then
yeah.
that I get to sleep okay, and then I wake up, but not complaining, just sharing what's been happening. I'm
Yeah.
excited, but it's definitely been a bit harder, and just my lack of motivation with things that usually I find quite easy.
Mm.
And I suppose with my kind of OCD nature,
Yeah.
third time pregnancies.
Yeah. Don't be offended when I say this, but you have lost your marbles a little bit, which is so uncharacteristic of you. Like, you're like very organized, very on the ball, like don't forget
I'm
things.
very forgetful at the moment.
And you've been doing some funny things lately.
Well,
Very out of your character.
Oh, what did I do the other day? Oh, I ordered like the same online order like twice. So I ordered
That's
literally
such a
the same
baby
thing
brain
like
thing to do.
twice. Anyway, they arrived like 2 days apart, and I was like, "Well, this is great. I've got two." Anyway, so done
You
that.
left your handbag at that site visit the other day.
Yep,
Like,
left my
oh,
handbag
yep,
at
that whole
this
handbag would
studio
be
visit
mine.
we went to. And also I have a habit of like, see my drink bottle. So it started with mine, and then it happened with both the kids, and then my husband's yesterday. I fill it up and I turn the tap on and I walk off, and the entire kitchen bench and the floor is covered in water.
Oh, you leave the tap going.
So I think it's 4 times I've done it now.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's
What
just,
the fuck?
I don't have no idea. I've really lost it, and I'm very forgetful. And I know we've spoken about before that your brain does change, and
It's rewiring itself,
it's
getting you
rewiring.
into protection.
Apparently, you become even
motherhood
more
zone.
intelligent every time. So I'm going to be a bloody genius after this baby's born.
Yeah,
No, but the forgetfulness is a real thing for me at the moment.
It's quite annoying, isn't it? It makes you feel a bit stupid. Remember when I left my phone in the fridge and I couldn't find it for like a day?
I was just like, what? What do you mean you've lost your phone and then you find it in the fridge? I also have
And you're just kind of a bit like, like, you idiot. But, you got to be kind, because your body and your brain is doing so much to create the baby.
Do you know what I read the other day, actually? And I could get this a bit wrong, but they did some study and they like tested people's, I think, resting heart rate or something heart rate of when they like run marathons and things like the Tour de France and a few other things. So I think the highest like a human gets to, I feel like it was about 2.5. I could be totally wrong with the numbers. When you're pregnant, every day yours gets to like 2.2.
Wow.
So essentially like you're running a marathon every day.
Yes, wow.
You're resting heart rate, or I don't know, I'm going to sound like really ditzy. And
we can confirm in the show notes,
confirm,
don't worry.
Anyway, look it up. Anyone that's pregnant, you're going to look at it and be like, oh my God, like no wonder I am tired.
But yeah, I mean, basically your body is acting like a pro athlete in what it's doing to create the child. Yeah. It's wild.
I just can't believe how many marathons I've run.
Yeah. The good thing is that you've always got an excuse to like your partner or something, like if you, maybe if you've let a few things slip, you're like, I am creating our freaking child.
Yeah.
Do you know what my body's done today?
Yeah.
What have you done today?
Spleen and liver and heart inside of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a brain. Like,
yeah.
It's pretty wild, actually. Even this time around, it's just still feels as mind blowing and as exciting. But I'm definitely not as organized because we got rid of everything. Because as I think we've also spoken about in the podcast, we were always just like 2 kids. That's it. We're done. And then a year ago, I was like, I think I would really like to have another baby.
Yeah, you literally gave everything away.
Everything.
Now everyone's like, do you want everything back? We've all used it between our 10 children. Do you want it back? You're like, no, thanks.
So yeah, I need to, start to get a bit organised. So that's a bit
Yeah.
unlike my nature too, because I'm usually like,
And just
anyway.
talk to me a little bit about the age gap, because I know you've been feeling a bit like, don't know what it's going to be like. And
Well, I do have quite big gaps because I had Nina, my eldest, when I was like quite young. Not that that matters. I'm not trying to like say I'm young or anything, but
yeah, whatever. You always say that. I'm so young. I'm such a
sorry, so I
young
had
mum.
Nina, yeah, but I've got a 7-year-old, and then my younger daughter Lulu is 4, and then so there'll be quite a big gap between them. But I think now I'm starting to realize I think it'll be really, really great. I think I had the first 2 pretty close together. It was about 2 and a bit years or 2.5 years, and that was a good gap. I think with every age there's going to be like pros and cons and challenges, and but I do know that the girls are really excited and they'll be super helpful. Although my little one wasn't, I don't think that excited at the start. She did have a few tears, but but now she's like kissing the baby every day and rubbing my tummy and talking about my baby brother.
Yeah, it was so
And,
cute yesterday
Mummy,
when I asked her, what's
can
in
we get
mummy's
it
tummy?
out? Yeah.
And she goes, my baby brother. Or she said, our baby brother,
Yeah.
or something adorable.
So, I can't wait to see what they'll be like. And I think you've mentioned to me before, because obviously you've got 5 older siblings. So your oldest, there's quite a big gap between you two. And you said how much you really love that. Being able to go to them for advice and just a different.
Yeah, it's a different dynamic.
Different dynamic. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be good.
I don't think there's any negatives to it. There's just differences, and I think it'll be great. And I think in the earlier stages, Nina's going to be an amazing help. Like, honestly, I think she will. Like,
she's very nurturing anyway.
So nurturing and so kind and caring and so sweet. And she's really helpful. Like, she loves helping you, and she loves to do the right thing. So I think she'll be amazing. She'll just be like the baby's other little mini mummy.
Mini mummy. Oh. But anyway, enough about me and my pregnancy. How are you? How are you going with the 2? Because we did speak about that last year briefly, but you were so
in the trenches.
In the trenches in like the first few weeks. So I'm sure now it's quite different. It might not be.
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, Ren's not far off being 1. Wild. So yeah, I've adjusted to the life with the 2 of them now. But there was a lot going on with Ren in the early few months. Like, he was just such a different baby to Honey. He was much more difficult to feed, and he didn't sleep as well. And we got sick a lot. We just had, one thing after another. Took me a lot longer to recover after the birth this time around.
You had a bit of a rough patch at the start.
Yeah. We started off on a little bit on the back foot because of like sicknesses and things that Honey was bringing home from childcare.
Is he in the pots and pans, babe?
Yeah, sorry, he's just playing with his high chair. Just let me move the strap out of the way. There we go. So it was really challenging, but the biggest challenge, I must say, was like the sleep deprivation for me this time around. Ren basically didn't sleep like a longer block than sort of 3 hours for 6 or 7 months, and it nearly broke me. And I mean, as you know, as my friend, I was so determined not to have to sleep train him, or I was too sort of stubborn and proud to reach out for help. And I just kept thinking, it'll get better, it'll change, it'll change, and it just didn't. And it's just so exhausting and really mentally challenging when you're not sleeping well. And I found it really rough. I finally gave in. I got some support. I did some settling with him, and he slept through the night like the second day of doing it. And I just thought, like, why the fuck didn't I do this earlier?
Yeah, oh my God. It must have felt like such a just relief, or to go, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He can do this. He can sleep.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing was, like, because he's my second baby, you're kind of like, oh, I know what I should do here. I
Yeah.
feel like this is what's going to happen next, or it might be this, it might be that. And I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh no, that's what I was going to say. I knew, like, he could self-settle, because whenever I would put him down to bed, he would just happily settle himself without any crying. He's a little thumb sucker. It's the cutest thing ever,
So
ever.
cute.
And
Oh
it's
my
the
gosh.
best. And it's actually the best thing when they're a baby, because they can soothe themselves by sucking their thumb. He never took a dummy. He was like not so disinterested in
Literally
taking a
spat
dummy.
the dummy.
Literally, he would like gag when I try and give it to him. Honey was a bit the same. She was never, both my babies were not that interested in a dummy. So anyway, I knew he was capable of settling, but when he would wake up through the night, I was just so tired. You know, it was just my immediate reaction just to feed him. So we just got in this habit of feeding him every sort of 2 to 3 hours all through the night and day.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just broke me. But yeah, so he took to the settling in the cot really quickly. And I did sort of, you know, do a bit of research. I've tried to find someone that had some more gentle techniques, a bit, you know, more gentle advice and techniques. And it was actually not such a big deal at all. It was kind of this technique where you'd let him cry for 1 minute and then settle him for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 30 seconds. And I was like, you know, sometimes if I'm in the shower and he's crying, or if we're in the car and he's crying, you've got to leave them to cry for longer than that.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel mean, didn't feel harsh and
Yeah.
mean, or like I was neglecting him. He knew I was there. You know, I felt comfortable. Anyway, worked a treat.
And I think you probably got onto it at a good time before he kind of, imagine doing it like now, or even when he's a little bit older, like when
Yeah.
they're really defiant.
Yeah.
And you've got
Well,
like a toddler.
the thing is though, like you do it and it works, but it doesn't necessarily just last forever. It's not like
That's
you do
true.
it
You
once
might
and
be
then
doing it again.
yeah,
My
he was
washing
sick.
machine's beeping at me. So this is another joy of remote recording. So let me just go turn it off.
Okay. Oh, so domestic our lives. I love it. What do you got, little mate?
Oh my gosh. Ding, 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 ding.
So anyway, so here we are. So yeah, adjusting to having the two. I don't know if I have like a huge comment on whether it's harder with one or harder with two. Everyone's experience is a bit different. You know, I talk to all different people about how they felt, and I don't feel like it's harder. I just feel like it's busier.
It's an adjustment. It's the adjustment period,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. Like when you've got one, you get a break because you can get your partner or someone else to look after the baby, and then you're like, you know, it's done. Whereas now, if I'm looking after one child, Aiden's looking after the other child, you kind of don't get a break.
Yeah.
So it's more busy. Like that's what I mean. It's kind of harder in the sense that it's just you just don't get a break. It's just busier. But you know, I had a really big sort of life and lifestyle shock once I had my first baby, which I wasn't expecting. I thought she'd just sort of slip into my life and it would just be us with a baby, but it was very different to that. So I feel like I had my shock factor, and now I'm just into, you know, full blown busy baby and toddler mode. But I actually started writing notes in my phone because, much like you, I have baby brain too a lot of the time, and I forget things. Like I can't even remember like what he was doing when he was 1 month, 2 months, things like that.
Yeah.
I'll read some of the notes that I wrote down. It's quite funny. I've written life with Ren. I wrote them for the purpose of me like remembering them, but also for things to remember to talk about on the podcast. The first thing I've written is people are nicer to you when you have a baby with you.
So
People stop and talk to you.
And
Yeah.
that look that you and another mum will give each other, like if you're pushing a pram or you've got the baby in the carrier or you're struggling with like a toddler throwing a tantrum, or like people open doors, or just, it's like, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so nice. I actually love it. Like, you know, living in a city, everyone's kind of like so closed off and in their own world, either with earphones in or talking on the phone or looking at their phone. Like people don't really acknowledge each other in the street. And, you know, there's not a lot of human connection when you're just out and about. And it's so nice, like to actually just have, you know, strangers come up to you and have a conversation with them. Like, I don't know, that I just find that connection really lovely. And I know that point has got us talking a lot about like connection and community and all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff, which, you know, a lot of those words are kind of like thrown around a lot, but like, what does that really mean?
Mm.
And so that's sort of one of the things that we really want to explore in this season.
Yeah.
You know, what does community look like? What does it feel like? What does it really mean? How does it feel for us as individuals and also us as a collective? You know, all of those sorts of things. So I'm quite excited to explore that
Yeah.
a little
There's
bit.
so much to kind of delve into and explore within that topic of
Mm,
community and connection, and I think also because a lot of what we do speak about on the podcast, well, pretty much 98% of it
mm,
is about motherhood or parenthood or
mm-hmm,
kids, all that stuff. Having connection when you're going through that with other people is like vital and crucial.
mm-hmm,
A lot of
mm-hmm,
people don't have that, and I know a lot of people really, really struggle. You can still
mm,
struggle with it, but I think when you have like a group of people around you
mm,
kind of relating to what you're going through, or even if they're not, just being there to listen and to support you through it, like it makes a huge difference,
huge difference.
to how you can, I think, your whole mental well-being, just everything,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Another note that I wrote was never admire people quietly.
Oh, I like
Let
that.
them know how you feel.
I like that. That's
It's
really
such a nice
nice.
feeling when someone acknowledges you and compliments you. Yeah, I was sitting there breastfeeding, like, you know, at a cafe or somewhere one day, and this other lady was sitting there breastfeeding too, and she gave me a really lovely compliment, like, you know, you're doing such a great job, and how old's your baby, and she was like, you just look so natural and beautiful doing that, and like I hope you're enjoying it and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, it honestly made my day. I was like,
Oh,
that
that's
was
so
such a lovely
nice.
thing, and it really made me want to put more into practice, because I often look at people and think, you know, whatever, a nice
Mm.
thing about them, and you just kind of get a bit shy to say anything.
I know, it's funny, isn't it? And
And it literally made my day, and I was like, I'm going to do that more, because if that little comment made me feel like that, imagine what you can do just by sort of reciprocating that to someone else.
actually, what she said is so true, because I'm not just trying to compliment you now because you've just
Oh,
said that,
please go
admire you
ahead, I
now.
won't stop you.
You do look so relaxed and in your element, and it looks so natural whenever you feed Ren. And it was the
Mm,
same I found with Honey. Like you're just like, it's not, it just seems like it's obviously it's innate in you, but it just
mm,
seems like natural. That's exactly
mm,
what it is. I don't need to complicate it. It seems natural.
mm, mm,
Where a lot of people don't find breastfeeding naturally. No, it's just they can't get comfortable. They can't do this. It's a bit, they
mm.
can't focus and do anything else. But you're like breastfeeding and chatting and drinking coffee and
I know.
doing all your, and like
I really love it though. I
suits
think
you.
that's why. I think that's why, because I really love it, and not
Suits
everyone
you.
loves it. Not everyone can do it. Thank you, darling. It is actually such a huge
Gonna give us a
compliment,
demo in a minute, babe?
because it's I've done enough breastfeeding on the podcast. You know, if anyone watches us on YouTube, you'll see. But I'm sure I will again. Don't worry, won't shy my nipples away. Um, yeah, I just love it. I really feel the oxytocin rush every time I breastfeed. So I kind of get addicted to it. I love it. I get this warm, fuzzy feeling, and I feel so in love with him and so connected, and I'm so lucky and so grateful that I do get that experience with it, because not every woman does,
Mm,
and not all women, but I think most women desire to breastfeed, or at least experience it or try it. So
mm,
I do really understand how lucky I am, because it just doesn't work for some people
mm.
the way it does work for me. So I'm very, you know, very grateful about that. Anyway, moving on from the boobs and the breastfeeding, we've got some like quite different things this season, and some really freaking exciting stuff, if I do say so.
I know we are really excited. I think when I mentioned before that we were kind of contemplating, how to get back into this season, um, some of what we're about to share was a project that we have been working on for a little while, which has, I guess, I've just lost my train of thought. My pregnancy brain clicked in once again.
Evolved.
Evolved, yes, it has evolved, and that was something that we were always going to do. But, we were just trying to figure out timing, and here we are. It's aligned. We're here. We will be working with our beautiful friends at Swiss again. Should mention that.
Yeah,
Swiss
absolutely.
Wellness.
They're helping us bring it to life, basically. Basically, we came up with this idea to create more visual video content. If you guys have been tuning in and following along with us for quite some time, you will know that we have all of our podcast episodes translated into Auslan, and we just want to create more content
Baby brain.
that is just as accessible to as many people as possible. Hence why we do the Auslan translations, because it allows a community to tap into what we're sharing and what we're doing that otherwise would not be able to. Obviously, podcasts being very audio based. So, yeah, we came up with this idea about creating a little video series. We pitched it to our dear friends at Swiss. They loved it. They had some amazing input. We worked together on, the types of topics that we want to explore. We put it out to you guys, to our community, for feedback. And, we love having that direct community feedback because we always strive to deliver the desires of you guys just as much of what we want to learn. So that's what we're doing. We're creating these awesome little videos with a bit of an umbrella topic of mental health, given all your feedback. And we've got some really interesting guests that we're going to be talking to that I'm really excited about.
Oh, so excited.
Some really interesting topics. And maybe we can share more in the coming episodes, and we'll share more on our Instagram page and stuff like that. So stay tuned with all of that.
Well, I think, as you mentioned before, there will be, quite a big kind of focus on, I guess, community and connection, which we'll also explore throughout that mini video series that we're doing with Swiss. All of those videos, we should say, will also be podcast episodes as well. So you will, while the videos might be a shorter version, you will get like the full audio version, which will, of course, as always, be translated. So we'll sort of be exploring social well-being, physical well-being, and then, a lot about community and inclusion and connection. So there is a lot to explore and a lot of conversations that we can't wait to have. Some of them we already have had. And there's just lots to share, and we hope you guys kind of get a lot out of these chats, because that's kind of the aim, really.
And then another thing that we've been talking about and noticing, and we'll talk to a lot of our guests throughout the podcast season, is like women who have reinvented their career after having children.
Creative rebirth.
Yeah, because it's such a thing, it's like such a life-changing, transformative stage, and so many people that we've connected with over the last, few years that we've been doing this, a large percentage of them have redirected or completely reinvented or been inspired to change their career path after having kids. So I think that's like a really interesting thing to learn about people, and how they've navigated their way through that, like why they've changed their path. And we've got some really inspiring women to talk to about that. In fact, our next guest,
she's got a great story.
Has got a great story, and she did exactly that. So stay tuned for that one. That will be a great one. But I was just thinking before, a couple of others that we're speaking to later in the season are in the same boat.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, us even doing this,
I know,
is exactly that. We had all these ideas, like, we're going to do something. What should we do? Then we both had babies, and of course, then COVID hit. So we were like, let's do a podcast and talk about our babies.
It's never something that you and I would have done together.
I don't think so. Like, yeah, we would have been
here
like,
we are, 4 seasons later.
Yeah. Yeah. So, lots of awesome topics. And we hope you guys really, really enjoy it. And,
that's it for now.
Come along for the ride this season. And I think that's it for now. We don't really need to give too much. We just wanted to share the news about the little mini series that we're doing, and what we've got coming coming up and share a little bit about where we're at. And, we're back, baby.
Woohoo! And your little angel baby has been a complete and utter angel for this whole episode.
He's done well, hasn't he? He's done well.
I think we should invite him along to the recordings more often.
Oh, he's here
Actually,
every
he's
time.
always there. Yeah, what am I talking about? When has he not been there since he's been born? Well, he'll have a little mate soon.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll have an extra little talking in common mascot joining us.
So cute. Can't wait. My God. Can't wait for the little newborn snugs. They're the best.
Just need to get my head around
birth, babe.
Birth, babe. Yep. I just copied you. Jinx. As my girls would say, jinx. All right,
everyone. We'll be back in your ears in a couple of weeks with our next episode, and we are so thrilled to be back. Love you all. Love you, Kate.
Love you, Soph.
Bye,
Bye,
babe.
guys.